I see a lot of people saying that they want to be an entrepreneur, cool, but then they are taking money from their family, like 10 lakh rupees ले लिए घर से, business start कर दिया, business loss में चल रहा है, but हम entrepreneur है. या
Right.
I every day meet with a lot of people of my generation कि यार startup करना है, but अगर आप उनके idea को criticism दे दो या उनके idea में modifications बता दो, they feel it hard to accept कि who are you for
True.
criticizing. मतलब my simple understanding is I come from a place where I have been doing this for 6 years, so I realized कि my idea started with A and now it has turned to D. Idea evolves over time. Idea has evolved over years. You need to accept that you are not perfect.
Hello everyone, I am Jitendra Singh. I welcome you to read my story where I interview authors, speakers, coaches, celebrities, entrepreneurs, and more. Today I have with me Mr. Aditya Anand, a seasoned debater and influenced writer since his early teens lead to the development of interest in spreading the joy of debating. He started training school teams for national and international debating competition and has helped some really amazing debaters showcasing their talent to the world. Aditya has also been representative of the team India at World Scholars Cup and one of the most reputed debating tournament in the world, and has also received Best National Debater in 2015. He is right now serving as a founder and CEO of Concord Collective and as an executive director of EduAce Services, one of the India's leading knowledge service startup. He is also an co-founder of Bharat Gentech and also an advisor to various universities and social clubs. Aditya, with a vision to bring the joy of unconventional and conventional debates and creating an ever-growing community of debaters, established Concord Collectives in the month of December 2017. Within a year of formation, Concord Collective has conducted multiple MUN and is far by India's largest student MUN community, and has also conducted a club program at 50 different schools and has trained more than 10,000 debaters, for which he has also been featured by UN Information Center in India and Bhutan in 2020. Today, he will be discussing with us about his life journey. So let us hear from him. Welcome, Aditya. The platform is open, and now over to you.
So it's pretty great to be here, sir. Hope to have a fruitful conversation.
Sure. So, first of all, Aditya, I would like to know from you is like, how did your past life has affected the person who you wanted to be in your life and what you are today?
Okay, so for the latter part of who I wanted to be, I wanted to be a lot of things when I was pretty young. I wanted to be a civil servant, I wanted to be a pilot, I wanted to join the army. Like as a normal child, I had a lot of career plans which kept on fluctuating year after year.
Right.
However, the way my past life affected is that I come from a state of Bihar. So हमारे यहाँ political discussions are everyday thing. We sit on the breakfast table and it starts with political discussion. You start analyzing
Right.
the politics of the country, you start analyzing about various things that are happening. So consciously, unconsciously, as a child, I have always been into politics. I always heard about different political leaders, different parties, their opinions. I changed my school in class 11 and I go to a school in Indrapuram called Indrapuram Public School. My first day at school started with a bunch of kids getting medals on stage.
Okay.
And at this point, this is my first day, and I'm completely clueless of why am I standing for an hour in the school ground while other kids are getting awarded.
Right.
And I asked this guy in front of me of what is this happening and why is this happening and how long will it take. He's like, this is a debating tournament. These students go to debating tournaments, and this keeps on happening in school. And probably this is the best way you can bunk classes in school.
Wow.
So, with the sole intention of bunking my classes and not going to study and having a normal school life, I decided I will join that debating club. And that's where it got started. Then I had a professional person, Mr. Salil Singh. He's also founder of Behes, who used to train me for debating back then. And I remember back then, one day I texted Salil on Facebook or something and said, what is this job exactly called and how do you do it and what qualifications do you require?
Right.
And he gave some funny, vague reply, which I didn't really understood at that point what he's trying to say. But now that I look at it, I understand that there's no proper qualification or something. It's just you and your passion that takes. So yeah, that's where it all started. And eventually from there, I started my graduation in law after school. And meanwhile, I also knew that while we talk about law, it seems pretty cool. But at the end of the day, the general public is hardly aware about what the law really is. I
Correct.
mean, in recent past, in fact, we have seen a lot of protests happening. For example, farmers protest or the Shaheen Bagh protest and all of that. But even then, public didn't really knew what the law is actually all about. What are they protesting about? So I realized that there's a huge gap between what the law is, what the awareness is. And as a law student, I started doing these conferences where I could actually start talking about public policies and start creating awareness about what the issue really is and what the government has done, and what should be done or what should not be done can be a matter of discussion. So yeah, that's what the whole intention was, that's what the whole plan was, and eventually it took off. So yeah.
Right. So initially, like your objective was not getting into this thing. Like that eventually happened when you saw somebody taking like rewards and awards. So the
Yeah, it
curiosity
was more of that.
comes up.
I was never a debater. I was never someone who goes on stage and does all of that. In fact, I remember as a child, while I was in class 6th or 7th, I tried to attempt to be a debater. And obviously, because school has to select a few kids who can do the activity, right, out of thousands of people.
Right.
So I was
Correct.
automatically rejected कि आप छोड़ दो, आपसे नहीं हो पाएगा. तो उसके बाद से I had left. But then this school gave opportunity to every student, and I was like, okay, if there's no barrier on
That's right.
participation, let's give it a try. And that's when it started.
That's really wonderful. Like opportunities also help us to create certain kind of not only curiosity but an interest towards something.
Right.
That's really wonderful.
Yes, sir.
So if I talk about things which you are passionate about in your life, so what are those things?
Okay. Being pretty closely associated to music and poetry, I still write at times. So yeah, a lot of rappers in the country are friends with me. Quite a few underground rappers for that matter. So I have been into the hip hop circuit of Delhi NCR for a long time.
Wonderful.
Then other than that, I have been into you can say traveling. One reason I do my job is that I get to travel to different places. So traveling, meeting new people, engaging with new ideas and thoughts, just randomly talking to people about different political scenarios in the country, taking their opinion. And you understand that this country is different in different places. Like 200 kilometer, but there's a difference of thought.
Correct.
So if right now I'm in Ghaziabad and I take a 80-kilometer ride to Meerut, there will be a little difference of opinion. I go a little further, I go to Aligarh, there will be a much more difference of opinion. So this country is all about opinions, this country is all about ideas, and this happens only when you get to travel and meet. If you are just going on a vacation trip and you are just having a vacation and having a fun time, you won't realize what the country is all about.
Correct.
To understand this country, you need to get into the grassroots, you need to talk to people, you need to meet people, be it a shop owner, be it a rickshaw wala, be it a hotel owner, or be it someone living in the next room of yours.
True.
Once you interact with people, that's when you know what this country is all about.
Right. Being a
So,
banker, I also traveled multiple cities, and your point here is very appropriate because whenever I travel to a small town, a small city, the thought process of business people, because I was interacting moreover to the business people who were into international trade, and also they are like traveling internationally. Still, the opinion of one city to another city is entirely different, and the common point among them is they are all like doing international business, traveling internationally. Still, the thought process is entirely different in two different cities.
right, completely.
Great. So you've been working on like multiple forums, multiple platforms. That's so great. And as you mentioned, you have been debating. So apart from that, after debating into your schooling, then your graduation time, then you joined one organization. And I'd like to know more onto your work and experiences, like how your journey actually started, what all you
Okay.
did so far, and the struggle in COVID period. Also, I'd like to know more onto it.
Sure. So the start of the career is a pretty fun and sadistic story at the same point of time. So this tournament called Behes had their national finals by the name of Maha Behes, and my teammate backs out on the very day of the tournament.
Okay.
So now instead of team of three, I'm going for a team of two versus all the other teams of three. Obviously, we didn't qualify for the knockout stage. stage. And since I was a debater in school and like almost all the debating circuit of that particular community knew me, next day morning, everyone is sitting in the opening ceremony area where they are announcing the qualifiers and everything. Every time the team's name is about to come up, all the people are looking around and most of them are looking at me. At least eye contact is there. And I also had certain expectations that I will definitely qualify for at least quarterfinals. Maybe I will lose that, but at least this is something that I will achieve. The
Right.
name didn't turn up. My name never turned up. And everyone leaves the venue. I am still sitting there, holding my head, probably crying on how I couldn't make it. And Mr. Salil turned up, who was also my teacher. He also was the founder of this organization. And he turned
Right.
up to me and he's like, "What's happening? Why are you so upset?" I'm like, "You guys are biased. You are not fair. How is it possible that I don't qualify?" That ego of a teenager was speaking at that point of time. That how
True.
is it on earth that I cannot do it? He says something and eventually says, "Don't worry, 12वीं पास कर ले और फिर टीम में आ जा और फिर तू बहस करवा ले." These words gave me an insight कि okay, I have a career option as soon as I clear my 12th. I cleared my 12th and then I just went to him कि hey, 12वीं पास कर ली है,
अब बताओ.
अब बताओ क्या करना है, and I'm in. So that's when it started. That's when the career started. I joined Behes in its pretty initial years. So I basically saw the process of building an organization.
Right.
Something that I learned from Mr. Salil. I learned how he has to build a team, how he has to function, how he has to make sure that everyone around is happy, and how at least everyone around is productive. If not happy, how at least they're productive at the end of the day. So that started. Then, due to difference of opinion, like I wanted to talk about public policies, Behes was more about philosophy and life. So I decided, okay, I will take a step back. I will move out of the organization and let's talk about public policy. Because by this time, I was in my second year of law school.
Right.
So I had also developed a lawyer's side who wanted to talk about public policy and who wanted to understand how things happen.
Correct.
So I took a step back. I started this. Now, when I started this, people knew me for Behes. Nobody knew me for Aditya Anand. People knew me that he's a guy who works at Behes. So
Right.
approaching schools became tough for me because at the end of the day, everyone has some questions or the other on why I left, what am I doing now, why should I do it. All of those questions came into the counter. So it took a few months to overcome. And then eventually, quite a few schools gave me a chance. Thanks to them, we started doing things. We started organizing MUNs. Then came a time when I realized that okay, our MUNs are good. We got featured by United Nations. So that was a thing. But these are the times that I talk about. I mean, people talk about their success, right? But then there were also times when I slept on a platform of a railway station because probably didn't had enough money to take a hotel room.
Okay.
Right. These are the times when the organization didn't really had any kind of money and we had to work because that's when
Right.
you have to do things. So we used to travel taking the cheapest hotel possible, taking the cheapest mode of travel possible, taking a government bus just to make sure that it fits your pocket at the end of the day.
Correct.
And now from there to wherever we have arrived, like this year we were in 16 cities. So post lockdown, getting into 16 cities was also a challenge. But yeah, we did that, and now when I look at it, I think that things happen for a reason. I mean, me meeting Salil, me changing school, and then everything aligning, then getting to work with him, doing law for that matter, then taking a completely different career option of being an entrepreneur. So all of this sinks together years later when I think about it. Okay, this is actually a story that could have been a part of the life,
Right.
like this is how it was supposed to be. So yeah, I
And
realized you cannot really plan your life, you cannot really discuss on who I will be in next 5 years. I probably don't know. Because the journey that it is there, it has its own plan. The journey will tell you what your destination is supposed to be. You cannot decide your destination in life for that matter.
right. Right. Correct. And like you also mentioned about COVID period, that struggle was also another like hit.
Right. So COVID was a struggle and a boon. So COVID was the year when we got featured by United Nations.
Wow.
So we did quite a few online conferences and everything. Now the problem with us was that school students themselves had started organizing debate tournaments online because obviously now no more resources are required, no more money is required, you just need a Zoom account. And अगर आपके पास प्रोफेशनल Zoom account नहीं भी है तो भी आप 40 minutes के सेशन कर सकते हो and उस पे आपका
Right.
काम हो जाएगा and you can debate. So like 6 friends can come together and they can start debating among themselves and they no longer need to pay for this. So
Cool.
this activity had somehow became a free of cost activity for students. Now, obviously, if it's happening in the market for free of cost, nobody is willing to pay you for this.
Correct.
Irrespective of the quality that you get, the kind of people that you have on board, all of that goes on sidelines as soon as you have a money attached. So that year we started with a fundraiser. We worked with a NGO called Webcom Foundation, who were actually trying to help people in COVID. So for me, the only measure to survive in COVID was to at least try online platforms, because my mindset was simple that schools are struggling to do this, who are much more finances than me, much more resources than me. They are struggling to do this. Who am I at the end of the day? How will I do it? So my idea was, let's do fundraisers so that we at least get into the system and understand how the system works. Eventually, we did understood the system, and we did pretty well, I think, for that matter. And then UNIC decided to collaborate with us. There's a video up on YouTube on our channel where Mr. Rajiv Chandran, director of UNIC, came with us, and he's interacted with the students for around 1.5 hours. So that's when I had realized that okay, I have created a mark, because if the director of the United Nations body is coming and interacting with students for 1.5 hours on a request,
Right.
so we have created a significant difference. Now it's time either to make it or to leave it, because there were two things in front of me, because it's not working in terms of business. I'm not making a lot
Correct.
of
Revenues were not there.
हाँ, so either I can leave it on a high कि UN से feature होके छोड़ दिया है, or either I need to figure out a way where I can actually monetize this and in a good way, and like we can actually work in a good way. Struggle kept on going on, and during the second wave, it was that I lost my father to COVID.
Sad to hear that.
Yeah, so I came into a pretty dark phase of life where I had a thing that I need to take care of the family, I need to take responsibilities of the family. And right now I'm still studying. So how do I actually create money? So
Right.
during last 1.5 years, I had come across this company called IPN, Indian Principal Network. And we were in touch with them. We were in touch with them for a lot of things. Because I was just beginning the organization and I barely had school connects, and IPN was all about school connect. So yeah, I was in touch with them, trying to figure out if I can work out a way or the other. Then the founder and also the CEO of our parent company, Mr. Gaurav Yadav, I went to him with the situation that okay, this is something that has happened in my life. Maybe earlier it was just a startup and entrepreneurial idea, but now it's the need of the hour. Now I need to
Right.
monetize this, or else I cannot do this at any given point. He supported, he helped me, he guided me, he still guides me on a lot of elements. And then he came into the picture, he helped us out, and that's when we started with the journey called Youth Policy Dialogue. So for the first year, we did an online championship. We did MUNs every week, irrespective of how many students participate. So I remember I did an MUN with 5 students. I did an MUN with 500 students as well,
Right.
online session only. But I also did MUNs
Correct.
with 20 students. So the numbers were not there. It was just that we have to be there in the circuit. We have to be present, irrespective of the fact that we monetize it or not. And
Correct.
obviously, since there was an organization which was financially backing me, so I was fine. Okay, like I can do this. There's a financial backing. Numbers can now be low for that matter, and it won't be an issue. Eventually, lockdown went out, and this Russian-Ukraine war happened. So, not to criticize or not to say something wrong, but Gaurav sir had a question for me. He was like, Russia-Ukraine ho raha hai, and UN is barely doing anything. UN is probably not as significant as you think it is. And I really
Correct.
think UN is significant. But again, the reality was right in front of us. Russia-Ukraine is happening every day on a daily basis, and UN is hardly doing anything about it. So I was like, okay,
Right.
now what do you suggest? So he suggested that let's create a platform that's maybe similar to what happens inside a MUN, but is not a MUN. And that's when the idea of Youth Policy Dialogue came up. So the idea of Youth Policy Dialogue was pretty simple, that I will use the format of what happens inside the MUN. However, I will not make a kid represent any country. So if you and I are debating, we will debate as Aditya and Jitendra rather than USA and Canada. Let's talk about our opinions, let's talk about our ideas, let's talk about our thoughts, because at the
Correct.
end, that's what's important. And then we did a lot of discussions around the country. We went to Jammu, we went to Chennai, we went to Dehradun, NCR was there definitely. And yeah, so it popped up, and like it's going well pretty well. And now we will be having our nationals in January. So that's something that I'm awaiting. That's something that I'm looking forward to see. Yeah, so that has
Wonderful. So that is the physical events.
yeah, these are physical events. Like post-COVID, physical events have been going on.
Wonderful. So you organize like multiple locations. Now, final is still yet to happen.
Yeah, final is set to happen in January. So we have covered 15 cities across the country. Now we are inviting all these 15 cities in January to Delhi, and then we'll have students from all these cities coming together and then having the same vision of India that I'm talking about. Different cities, different mindsets. So trying
Correct.
to bring that vision to students in their school life.
That's really wonderful and really like impressive, bold step because people are not talking about these really important subject, and that is like impacting so many lives around the world, and that is really important.
Right.
So now moving on to the another one. What is your vision, mission, and goal in life for next 5 to 10 years from now?
Okay, so vision is pretty clear. Vision is I need to do a job that makes me happy at the end of the day.
Okay.
Now, it can be a corporate job, it can be a startup, it can be a side hustle. That's completely fine. That I'm trying to get involved with a lot of startups. I'm working on different domains. For example, Bharat Gentech is a blockchain company. It works on
Okay.
technology, blockchain softwares. Then EduAce in itself is a completely educational supplement company where we provide career counseling, we provide a teacher training platform, we provide a networking platform, then a debating platform, a quiz platform. So that's a completely different sector altogether. Trying to figure out a entrepreneurial side in the course of law, like how I can
Right.
actually help lawyers in this country and the legal system in this country. Trying to figure that out in life right now. So that's the vision. Like create things that actually create value to people, that actually stick by people,
Right.
and probably you can help someone's life be better. Mission is to, maybe I will sound foolish, but yeah, mission is to make a decent life where if you meet me after 10 years and you look at me, you say that I created a positive impact in your life. That's a mission.
Right.
If anyone talks about me 10 years later, 5 years later, 7 years later, बहुत लोग होंगे शायद गालियां देंगे. I completely understand because you cannot make everyone happy. But
Correct.
बहुत लोग होंगे जो आप अपने साइड से कोशिश करो कि आप लोगों के लिए कुछ अच्छा करके जाओ. You take
True.
everyone together and you keep people happy. So that's what
Correct.
the mission is. And where I see myself is something that I'm pretty confused about on where it will end. As I said that the journey takes place and you don't know what the destination will be. But yeah, ideally destination is that these ideas do well and we end up executing them for years later. So yeah, trying
Right.
to
Right.
create an idea that runs for a long time.
Correct. And the things you are trying to build up would definitely these things definitely takes time. Once they
Yeah,
are on like their verge to like you can say you have to work 2 3 years to work around them, and the thing then come out from that the platform would be immense success for you probably, and
right.
definitely
So
that will.
yeah, so while I was just completing I asked someone that, see, I have a startup network. I have a network of entrepreneurs around me. I have options to get involved with startups. Probably not financially viable. I may not make a lot of money. And on the other hand, I have corporates that are offering a job for a lawyer or something like that with a good, decent pay. Now,
Right.
as a young person, I was confused. Should I go for money? Should I go for passion? मतलब both the thoughts keep ticking in that अच्छा वहाँ पे पैसा मिल जाएगा, life अच्छी हो जाएगी, you will live a decent.
That will give you instant money.
That will give me instant money. This may or may not give me money. So
Correct.
there are huge chances that we fail. मतलब organizations have come into this country which have failed doing the same thing that we do.
Right.
I remember there were organizations like Debating Matters India, Mastery, Kalki Cochin created this company called Mastery. All of these organizations failed. So when you see organizations failing in the same field, you feel scared
True.
because you are doing the same thing technically. They couldn't. Now you,
Correct.
as I say that I'm different from them, I'm doing a different thing. I realized that at the end of the day, the core objective of the organization is still the same. I
Yes.
made a different process, but the core objective is same. And if they fail, why is it that I will pass? So that question keeps
True.
on haunting. But eventually it is that you just do it for your happiness and then you realize ki, okay, now my thing was that if I go for a corporate job, I will probably leave it within 5 or 6 days, because being an entrepreneur throughout my college journey, I could understand the business system. So I was like, I will end up in a frustrated place, and even if I get good money, I will not be happy.
True.
I was cribbing about it. So I decided that I will go for the entrepreneurial side, and that's when it happened.
And also the kind of frustration comes in with the point that people who are your colleagues, classmates, they are doing corporate job and they are earning good amount of money there. And as an entrepreneur, you are not making any money right now. So this is also kind of a thing which makes us confusing most of the time. Not only confusing but fearful also, and the kind of competition and the comparison that is also there. So like person other who is your colleague, friend is making like X amount of money and you are almost at nil.
So there's a joke that goes on in my friend circle that is a friend of mine who is an assistant legal manager makes more money than a CEO.
Wow.
So that's a joke that goes on in
startup.
my friend circle कि यार आप CEO हो गए but पैसे नहीं है आपके पास तो काहे के CEO हुआ. But हाँ ठीक है, supposed to happen, that will go on and probably it will change, but yeah, have to take that risk to understand it.
And the only thing which matters is like if you be consistent in your startup journey, and over a period of 3 to 5 years, the difference if you see as an CEO of a startup and then an employee of an organization, you can be a millionaire, billionaire, whatever you like strive for. So that is a big achievement here, but that would not be possible in a job.
But also I feel that being an entrepreneur has been glorified, especially after these things like Shark Tank and all came in. Okay, being an entrepreneur is pretty cool, but being an entrepreneur also means a lot of hustle.
True.
Being an entrepreneur does not means कि आप एक साल में 2 साल में आप एक यूनिकॉर्न क्रिएट कर लोगे, आप बहुत अचीव कर लोगे. होता है लोगों के साथ. I agree that there are startups that became a unicorn just over a year. Great for them. But at the end of the day,
not every organization make it.
हाँ, मतलब there are 10,000 failures and one success. So nobody talk about those 10,000 failures, but they all talk about how cool it is to be an entrepreneur by talking about that one success. And like even if you have achieved the success, let's look at the Ashni Grover case. He has been kicked out of his very own startup.
Correct.
So that risk, that everything stays with you forever. You can always be kicked out of your own startup. Steve Jobs was kicked out of Apple.
True.
So yeah, that's supposed to be there. So yeah, that's a risk that people are willing to take. It's good to see entrepreneurs around, but it's also sad that a lot of them have a different vision altogether. They think they are here to become billionaires, and it will happen overnight. I'm pretty sure it won't. It will take a lot of years effort.
Take time because depending on the business also, some business take little time, some business take little more time, some business require I think 5 to 10 years to grow on a good scale. So entirely depending on business and product as well.
Right.
So moving on to the next one, if I talk about your most important life lessons from your personal and professional journey so far, what are those things?
Okay. Professional is be punctual and do or die, but if you have given a commitment, just make sure that you complete that commitment.
True.
Because work commitments are work commitments, irrespective of what your situation is, irrespective of where you are, what's happening around you. You need to make sure that if you have committed some professional thing to someone, make sure you commit to it. Make sure you do it by hook or crook, because that's the only thing that will give you the reputation. That's the only thing that will give you the goodwill, and that's the only thing people will work with you. Because if you're not a man of your commitments, there's no point working with you, especially in your early years. Personal, communicate, and probably don't do business with friends because it complicates your relationship both ways. So I remember when I was back in second year when I had started, my team was all my friends. Most of them didn't wanted to join. They were forced to join this. You are my friend. How can you say no to me? And I forced them into this. I realized over time that these people are not as passionate about the idea as I am. They have different career plans, and I'm just trying to force into this. And obviously that frustrates them. So which spoiled my personal and professional relationships for quite some time. Yeah, obviously over the time we mended it and we got into the same page. But yeah, for some time it was कि यार मेरे पास दोस्त भी नहीं है और मेरे पास काम करने वाले लोग भी नहीं है, अब मैं करूँ क्या?
Right, that happens.
So I realized कि ठीक है, personal और professional mix नहीं होता कभी भी. And professional में you just have to make sure that you provide honor to your commitments.
Correct. That is the thing. Like whenever you get into this kind of a situation, friends are your supporters also, and their partners in business. So these type of clashes happens. And also, if you see your friends as your business supporters or maybe your first clients, that is also really difficult to get on.
Right.
So they never come to your rescue. They never come to your support.
Right.
Probably one or two may do that, but not all.
Yeah, if someone wants to do that, let them come to you. You don't go to your friends, as call it.
Correct.
Yeah.
That is also a case.
So like at today, a lot of my friends come in like, hey, let's work together. So that's okay. Now I'm okay with working with them. But back then when I was starting and when I was a nobody, to be very honest, though it was really tough. कि come work with me, come work for me, and I'm a nobody, but we'll do something.
True,
So
true.
yeah, unless and until they are passionate about the idea, they won't help you.
Agree with that. Totally agree. So now moving on to the topic which we were discussing about. So since you've been like onto public speaking for quite long, so I'd like you to address this. Like we have young people, and like we have huge population of young people in our country. So what you suggest to these young people how to be active citizen of our country?
Right. Okay. So we call ourselves the youngest country, but the fact is we are the youngest country for next 7-8 years. Post which we will not remain the youngest country. So these are
Okay.
the 7-8 years that we need to use, right? Because after a certain point of time, all this young population will actually get into their 30s and 40s, and you will no longer be the youngest country.
Right.
A major problem with the youth. So I have been based in Delhi. I did my college life in Delhi. Vision nahi hai. Matlab everyone is like, so there were three generations. I think there were three generations. My grandparents, their task was survival. They
Right.
wanted to survive. So they were earning their bread and butter for survive. And they did that. So they had an objective to fulfill. Moving on, the next generation, my father's generation, they worked for a better status in life.
Right. Luxury.
their aim was not survival. Survival हो चुका है. अब उनका
Correct.
aim है कि आप एक बड़े शहर में जाए, एक अच्छी जिंदगी जिए, अच्छी जगह पे रहे. उन्होंने भी वो कर दिया. तो अब जो हम लोगों की जनरेशन है, हमारा एम ना ही सर्वाइवल है, सर्वाइवल हो जाएगा पता है, ना ही एक स्टेटस ऑफ लाइफ है, वो भी हो गया है. मतलब ऑलमोस्ट, सो लाइक राइट नाउ आई एम लिविंग इन माय फादर्स ओन हाउस. आई डोंट नीड टू गो एंड बाय अ हाउस. आई ऑलरेडी हैव अ हाउस. आई ऑलरेडी हैव अ कार. सो मुझे
Correct.
घर गाड़ी का रोटी कपड़ा मकान नहीं चाहिए. रोटी
Correct.
कपड़ा मकान है मेरे पास, बट मुझे जो चाहिए दैट इज कि आई लिव एट ईज, आई लिव एट माई ओन विल. सो लिविंग एट योर ओन विल हैपेंस, एंड इट्स something that a lot of people keep switching jobs for. Our generation is known for switching jobs every other month, but
Yeah.
that's the only reason, because now we are not looking for a employment or roti kapda makan. We are looking for a ease of life. Roti kapda makan hai mere paas, ab mere ko ek आसान सी life ho jahan pe mujhe paise bhi mile. That's what the vision is. And
Right.
but that's also wrong at the same. The youth has actually stopped being involved in vision. It has become a lot about what social media says. I mean, you are protesting on social media pretty cool. You are
Correct.
talking about all of those things pretty cool. But on the ground, are you really talking about that with someone on face to face? Okay, like how many of us know about the situation that's going on in Northeast, especially in Assam? There are
Right.
riots the other day.
Nobody is bothered actually if we
Yeah.
talk about.
What happened in Jammu and Kashmir is happening right now, happening in Assam. But okay, एक social media post से वो change नहीं होगा. आप
True.
सिर्फ एक social media post डाल के बोल दो कि अरे I'm a social activist. You are not a social activist. You are just trying to project that you are a social activist. So the thing is कि we just need to do things on ground that we do on social media. That's the important part, because हम लोग social media पे बहुत अच्छे इंसान बन जाते हैं. Social media पे हम लोग सारी चीजों के बारे में फर्क पड़ता है. सबसे environment से फर्क पड़ता है. एक एक cause से फर्क पड़ता है. लेकिन on ground मैं वही प्लास्टिक की बॉटल फेंक रहा हूँ, तो फिर मैं environmentalist कैसे?
Correct.
So yeah, that's something that we need to look into. That's something that we need to dive into कि एक virtual world और एक real world में common चीजें हो. Right.
That's
So
really important, because reality and thought process are two different things. What we do on social platform and what we do in reality, there is a huge.
right, pretty much. Yes, sir. Yeah. So basically, the thing is that I see a lot of people saying that they want to be an entrepreneur, cool, but then they are taking money from their family, like 10 lakh rupees ले लिए घर से, business start कर दिया, business loss में चल रहा है, but हम entrepreneur है. Yeah,
Right.
I every day meet with a lot of people of my generation कि यार startup करना है, but अगर आप उनके idea को criticism दे दो या उनके idea में modifications बता दो, they feel it hard to accept कि who are you for criticizing. मतलब my simple understanding is I come from a place where I have been doing this for 6 years, so I realized कि my idea started with A and now it has turned to D. Idea evolves over time. Idea has evolved over years.
Correct.
Right? You need to accept that you are not perfect.
True.
You need
Until
to
unless
understand.
you accept that, you would not proceed further.
Right, and you need to accept that people may disagree with you and they may be right. So yeah, that acceptance need to come. And हाँ, थोड़ा हम लोगों को अपना ego massage भी कम करना पड़ेगा. As I said that we are no longer living for roti kapda makan because we all have it. So we are also having a lot of ego. कि यार मैं क्यों करूँ ये काम?
Correct.
Right. So I remember someone asking me long back, 3-4 years back. So I was just putting I was having an event to start. The event was about to start, and I was picking up chairs myself and putting it on right places. I was arranging the chairs myself. And this young guy from my team comes in and he looks at me and and he's like, भैया आप founder हो, आप क्यों chair उठा रहे हो? And I was like,
Right.
there's no problem in lifting that chair. I'm just trying to make someone's job easy. It doesn't mean that I'm the founder, so अब मैं अब सिर्फ सूट पैंट पहन के कोने में बैठा रहूंगा और बाकी सब काम करेंगे. That's not how a leader works. Leader works with the team.
Correct.
You as a leader need to be with your team on ground and doing things that they need. You cannot just
True.
claim कि I'm the leader, it's my brainchild, so I will get it done. That's not possible practically. So yeah, that kind of ego needs to go out, I think. But this is something that I see around me, within my friends, within my classmates and everyone. So yeah, this is something that I've observed around people. I don't know, a lot of them probably will hate me for giving this answer, but yeah, okay.
Right. No, actually,
Okay.
this is reality of an art, because when you see you are into a entrepreneurial journey. First thing is when you are starting yourself alone. Then at that point in time, you are everything in the organization, from peon to the CEO of the company.
Right.
So you have to do every task. But gradually, when a team builds up, more people come in, the roles and responsibilities get on on other people as well. So then you can say the actual growth start to happen there.
True, completely. So yeah, that also happens. I mean, even today, so we have people interning with us. Now, I remember that back then when I started creating databases and making cold calls is a pretty boring job.
Yeah, definitely.
And I completely agree with it. With my heart and soul, I completely agree कि बहुत boring काम है, आपको बिल्कुल मजा नहीं आता, बहुत बार insulted feel होता है. But then it's a job, and I used to do it for a long time of my career. Now, if I have an intern doing it, तीसरे चौथे दिन मेरे को एक मैसेज आता है कि सर कुछ और काम मिल सकता है और हम कुछ और काम कर सकते हैं. This is something that I don't want to do. So nobody really wants to walk the hard way.
True.
So that's
true.
something that's something कि even if you are going for a corporate job years later, right now you're interning, even if you're going for a corporate job years later, you will have to do these kind of things. I'm pretty sure that you must have seen a lot of people at bank do it. Banks do it on a daily basis. They call people for loans and everything. And obviously not all the times they get the perfect response. बहुत बार गालियाँ आती हैं, बहुत बार काट दिया जाता है कॉल. तो वो सब होता है. That's part and parcel of job. So but yeah, people want to skip the hard way and just have something easy to do. So that's a little sad for people, I think.
Correct. That's perfectly right on your what you've just mentioned, that bankers face these type of challenges on daily basis. So I've been a banker. I've also seen those days, and that is really hard to do a call and you get a bad response, and you have to make another call just after cutting that call. That is really bad on some days.
Right, but you still continue with it, right? Because that's the part of your
Yes.
job. So yeah,
Correct.
that's people just giving up because they don't like anything is not something that I look forward to. But it happens every day on a daily basis.
Correct. Because that's the way you make yourself more comfortable with the bad odd jobs.
Right.
The only way is like hearing those conversations and also responding to that. That learn that gives you two learning. One is like how to handle these type of people, which
Right.
is again a big task. If you start to manage these type of problematic customers, they give you more business. People don't understand that. Once
Right.
you satisfy these customers, they give you better and more repetitive business.
Right, sir.
One thing is that the more you communicate, the more you learn about the product, processes, competition, your customer. You start to understand your customers' need before they speak. That only happens when you do these type of callings.
True. I mean, cold callings give you a different kind of confidence, to be very honest. I mean, cold callings give you the confidence that you can talk to anyone and everyone, and you can sell anything to anyone. So,
Correct.
and having one cold call getting converted is a different confidence at all. Absolutely. I mean, I
Correct.
know what kind of thrill just came inside me when my first cold call got converted. I was like, okay, I'm the one who can sell anything to anyone. But yeah, I realized that not every cold call will work. A lot of them will fail. But yeah, that's the part of the job. That joy only
Correct.
comes in because it's tough to get that one call converted.
Correct. And that is the reality. Like you do 100 calls, you would get better results with 10 to 15 calls maybe.
Yeah. The more the number of calls, the better the cold calling purposes.
Correct. So onto it further, if I talk about young generation, they always talks about their rights. They never talks about their roles and responsibilities. So onto it further, like how to teach these young people, young generation, about their rights, also about their roles and responsibilities, so that they can be active citizens.
Right. Okay. So I will quote what Mr. Rajiv Chandran said on our podcast years back. आप environment की बहुत बातें करते हो कि environment preservation करना है, climate change करना है. अभी आप जाओगे बर्गर किंग में, मैगडी में, उठाओगे एक प्लास्टिक की ग्लास जिसमें होगी कोक और उसको फेंक दोगे रोड पे, डस्टबिन में, कहीं पे भी. वो प्लास्टिक की ग्लास जाता है समुंदर में और वहां रहता है 10-15 साल तक और आपके environment को डैमेज करता है.
Right.
What the journey of a plastic glass is actually. हमें चेंज करना पड़ेगा. बिजनेसेस आपके हिसाब से चेंज होंगे. बिगेस्ट एग्जांपल इज मैकडोनल्ड्स. मैकडोनल्ड्स जब इंडिया में आया था, they used to sell a lot of non-veg stuff which didn't really work, right? That's when they created aloo tikki. So companies, brands, everyone will change according to the consumer's need, consumer's demand.
Correct.
It's about what you want to consume. It's about all about that. That's what the companies will do. But we are okay with everything. I see people, I appreciate the effort, but there are people who run evening schools. तो अगर अभी
Right.
मेरी 1-2 महीने छुट्टी हो गई है तो मैं इवनिंग स्कूल खोला, 1-2 महीने मैंने बच्चों को पढ़ाया, 2 महीने बाद मेरा वेकेशन खत्म हो गया और मैं चुपचाप अपने बैग्स उठा के वापस अपने कॉलेज, अपने ऑफिस, और वो इवनिंग स्कूल के बच्चे दिन दे आर गॉन. हु इज लुकिंग आफ्टर देम? नो वन. यू आर नॉट हैंडिंग इट ओवर टू समवन, राइट? सो फिर नेक्स्ट टाइम व्हेन समवन कम्स टू देम कि हे आई विल टीच यू, इट बिकम्स टफ फॉर देम बिकॉज़ देन दे डोंट हैव दैट ट्रस्ट कि ये आदमी भी 2 दिन में भाग जाएगा. तो वी नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड कि अगर आप कुछ अच्छा कर रहे हो तो डू इट विद फुल रिस्पांसिबिलिटी. यू कैन नॉट जस्ट टेक पार्शियल रिस्पांसिबिलिटी कि जब तक मुझे अच्छा लग रहा है आई विल डू इट, जिस दिन मुझे अच्छा लगना बंद हो गया मैं छोड़ दूं. बिकॉज़ इफ यू आर
Right.
दैट्स प्लेइंग विद समवन्स लाइफ, टू बी वेरी ऑनेस्ट.
Correct.
I don't think any one of us have the right to do it. Second is कि protest करना बहुत अच्छी बात है. I have been a part of quite a few protests. I love the idea of protest. But we forget what we are protesting about these days. We start protesting for a propaganda. Be it the left propaganda, be it the right propaganda. But हम लोग propaganda की बात करते हैं.
Correct.
We forget the root cause of it. For example, farm laws. A lot of people say that the protest was about the propaganda, and at certain point it felt that it's about the propaganda.
True.
Right? At a lot of points it felt ki, okay, these are probably not farmers. Even though they were or they were not, that's something I don't know, that I will not comment upon. But at a lot of times it felt ki, why will a farmer do this? And if these many farmers are protesting, who is actually farming in the farms?
Correct.
Where is the food coming from? If all of them are here right now. So like the place we live in, we both know that our national highway was pretty much blocked for around half the year, and we had massive traffic
Number of
jams in our
months.
area. Yeah.
Correct.
So protesting is not about providing inconvenience to people. I mean, look at the way Mahatma Gandhi protested. He did a dandy march. He marched
Right.
from one to the other and made salt and broke the salt law. So it looked like a protest. It looked like he had a vision. He wanted to give a message to people. Today,
Right.
protesting is all about sitting on the road and causing inconvenience to people.
Correct.
Now, causing inconvenience to people will not get people to support you, even if your idea is
Definitely. Definitely. That is the reason they are not able to get this support from the public.
the only reason that farmers or the NRC protests didn't work was that you were causing inconvenience to the public itself. So
Yes.
why should the public support you at the end of the day? If you are creating a movement, if you are creating a message, do that in a good way.
Correct.
India is a country where you have massive examples of how good protests can be done. Right? Janata Dal movement was all about protesting. I know a lot of bad things happened during that movement too, but overall the movement was all about protesting, right? It was all about ending the propaganda that the country was going through. So we need to look at it differently. Secondly, half-baked information is a problem because people have a half-baked information. Okay, so a major problem with the country is that we are either right-wing or we are either left-wing. अगर मैं न्यूज देख रहा हूँ और मैं न्यूज देखता हूँ तो या तो सिर्फ मैं रिपब्लिक टीवी देख रहा हूँ या मैं सिर्फ एनडीटीवी देख रहा हूँ. मैं न्यूट्रल ग्राउंड्स नहीं ले रहा. तो जब तक मैं न्यूट्रल नहीं हूँ तो मैं जज्बात नहीं कर सकता कि राइट सही है या लेफ्ट सही है. वो मैं तभी कर सकता हूँ जब मैं न्यूट्रली दोनों को सोचूंगा, दोनों को इवैल्यूएट करूँ. आप पॉलिटिशियन नहीं हो, आप सिटीजन हो. आपका काम है आपके लिए क्या सही है इवैल्यूएट करना, ना कि किसी पॉलिटिशियन को अपना फेवरेट बना के उसको सपोर्ट करना ब्लाइंडली. आप बस मीम्स बना के डाल देते हो उसके बारे में. तो यू जस्ट नीड टू हैव अ फेयर इवैल्यूएशन ऑफ politicians apart from your bias. So like people ask me which party do I support. I support different parties in different elections.
Right.
Maybe,
Because when you support some party, that should be on the basis of what they are fighting for, what they are having as their agenda.
Right. But वो हम कंसिडर नहीं करेंगे because हमने एक पार्टी पकड़ ली और उस पार्टी को हम हर लेवल पे वोट करेंगे. अगर यही करना होता तो इतने लेवल ऑफ इलेक्शंस नहीं करते ना हम लोग.
Correct.
So yeah, these are things that I think as a citizen we need to look into. And thirdly, but not the last, is be okay with communications. I mean, I see जैसे Facebook, social media वगैरह पे comments वगैरह पे कुछ discussion होता है. I had this experience. Okay, so and it was a pretty scary experience for my parents for that matter. So I commented on some social media posts. Being a lawyer, I had studied the farm law, so I saw the flaws and the reasons for protest. So I made a detailed comment. It was around like one screen comment. पूरे screen पे मेरा comment था उस time पे. So and after that I got threat calls. I got threat messages. I mean, isn't that my right as a citizen? Right. So yeah, that kind of propaganda needs change. People need to be more adaptive. People need to listen to something that they do not agree. So yeah, that's something to look forward.
You can agree with something or you can be opposed to the idea. that is
Yeah.
entirely your opinion.
Yeah.
So people should understand that if somebody is supporting or if somebody is opposing, they should be having some of their like thought processes or some studies, maybe some logics, maybe.
Yeah,
So they
like
need to give them the right weightage. Okay, if you have certain opinions, there should be some logical reasoning. Go ahead and share with the public.
right.
What is the harm in that? But these type of problems are arising. So like if we talk about the freedom of speech, that is like kind of not that like of that level which it should have been. And there are certain people who are doing everything of their own choice, like they're doing every bullshit here and there, and still they are kind of media is promoting them. There are so many people who are doing so like bad, using so badly the media and the coverage for their own agendas, like spreading hate speeches. So still they are working fine. And if a common person comes in and share his ideologies, thoughts, opinions, then they are suffering.
Right.
So leaving this topic here only, we will leave this to people and moving on to the next one. So if I talk about you, I know it like in we are discussing for quite long, so I know it. But still asking you, are you an introvert or an extrovert while meeting or facing people, audiences? And like, is it the same when you were in school, or you transformed from there to now? What is the plus or minus of the same?
Okay, back in school, I was pretty introvert. Okay, even today, for the case, I will say I'm an introvert only. But if you meet me and if you start talking to me, you see I'm an extrovert. So the idea is that I talk a lot. I talk about different things. I can talk about anything for as many hours as you want. And you will feel that I'm talking about so much and everything, all of that is happening. But
Right.
it's hard to talk about myself for me. I
Okay.
cannot talk about myself. I cannot share what my thought process is, what my details are. Matlab, in a general conversation, I will not never do that. I may ask you a lot of questions about your thought process, about your details, about everything about you. I may end up knowing you completely, but I'm pretty sure a lot of people that I know that they think they know me probably don't even know me. They
Right.
just know a side of me that I want to show. So that way, I'm a complete introvert. But yeah, if you're talking to me, I can talk for a long time and I can be an extrovert. So I can tell you pros and cons of both for that matter.
Right.
So being an introvert, the con is that at times when you are frustrated with yourself or frustrated with things around you and you try to explain it to people, people don't get it.
Correct.
Because
Agree with that.
कल तक तो तुम सही थे, आज एकदम से क्या हो गया? Because you never told them कल तक वो प्रॉब्लम चल रही थी. आज जब प्रॉब्लम फट गई
Right.
तब आपको बताया कि अच्छा ये प्रॉब्लम हो गई. तो that comes in. Being an extrovert, biggest problem is that people approach you with random things on random days and random hours, and they think you are available to talk.
Correct.
Right. So a lot of times people think he's anyways talking to people every time, any day. Let's call him up when he is available. And if you say
Correct.
no, then they are offended. कि अरे उसके पास तो ऐसे तो करते हैं, but आज मैंने बहुत तो मना कर दिया. So it's a two-way sword. Like one side is pro, one side is con. So that's going to happen. A pro of being an introvert is that people don't really get into your personal life. They don't get into your personal equations because they barely know about it. Pro of being extrovert is that you can easily approach people because even if you approach someone randomly and even if they have heard about you, they know that you are an extrovert and that's why you approach them. So they don't take it in a wrong way.
True.
Yeah.
Both have
So
pluses and minuses. It's totally up to you, like what mood you are on, and
huh,
basis that you can like take the things
right, right.
on a way. So if I talk about people supported you in your journey the most, who were those?
Okay, definitely Mr. Salil. If he hadn't been there, this journey wouldn't have started. He made me a debater. He made me fall in love with this activity for that matter. Then came Mr. Abhishek Gupta. He's a mentor to me. He helped me form my product, right? When there was nothing, no one was guiding me. So he came in the picture. He sat with me for hours every day on a daily basis, attended random phone calls of mine,
Right.
random rants of mine, and helped me understand what's going on. Third, Mr. Gauravas Yadav, who I work with at present. Amazing person, amazing knowledge. He actually helped me capitalize my resources. So different
Right.
stages, different people came in, they helped in different ways. One made me fall in love with an activity. Second helped me modify that activity into a business. Third actually helped me capitalize that business. And so yeah, that's the thing, that eventually people come in at the time when you need them. Nothing will happen before time, right? No, you will not meet people right before you need them. So yeah, that's
True.
what's up to me. So yeah, apart from that, definitely my parents, who bared with me that in spite of having a law degree, I decided to be an entrepreneur and not go on to the lawyer side of the table. Definitely a lot of friends for that matter. Matlab, taking a couple of names will be difficult. A lot of friends did support me. I mean, that the friends are the only people you choose in your life, right? And only people you go to in life when you have a problem. I mean,
Right.
I cannot just go and cry in front of my mom and dad कि hey मैंने सपना देखा था वो सपना टूट गया अब मैं क्या करूं. But I can definitely do that in front of my friends.
Correct.
Yeah, I had a dream, it's getting shattered, what do I do? So yeah, different people have different conversations. So yeah, you have to have great friends in life. You need to be open up with your parents. You need to tell them what your mindset is, what you are thinking about.
Correct.
And definitely, if you are working with someone in the industry, always look for mentors. I mean, mentors are the people who take you forward.
True, because they like help you in your journey, shortening the journey
Right,
probably.
right.
So that is really wonderful. And if I talk about motivation and inspiration, which is an integral part of our journey,
Right.
we sometimes get motivated ourselves, sometimes from outside. So what is your motivating factors and inspirational thoughts, maybe, or inspirational sides of your journey?
Okay, getting a little dark. So I was bullied for a long time in school in my early childhood. And I remember as a kid back then, it felt difficult to talk to someone, to explain to someone of what's really happening.
Right.
Knowing that everyone who is bullying you is around you all the time. They are your friends only. They are not some people who hate you. They play with you, they study with you, they are there around you all the time. And when they feel like they bully you. So you don't really have, you have friendship, but you don't really have a friendship. And it was suffocating, right? And then when later debating came into my life, it became a bit easier because now I found a platform to express my thoughts, express my opinion,
Right.
where people, even if they don't want to listen to me, they have to listen to me.
True.
Right? That's what debating gave to me. Now I realize that I'm not the only kid who has been through this, and I'm not the last person who is going through this. So I just want to give this platform to each and every student, irrespective of if you are going through a bullying, a domestic abuse, or just a normal life but not happy, or just not able to express yourself, or just facing any random problems. I think debating is a solution to them.
True.
Because once you get a platform where you can express yourself, express your own opinions without anyone restricting you or telling you you are right or wrong, is when you find your inner self. You find your inner thoughts, you find your inner potentials, you realize who you are, what you think, what your thoughts alignment are like. It's a self-discovery for that matter.
And
So
definitely it gives you a confidence also to face your challenges.
right. So understanding that what debating gave me, I want to take it further to the community. I want to take it further to the people. I want to make sure that if anyone out there who needs this, just like I did, he or she gets it.
Correct.
So yeah, that's what the motivation is all about. Inspiration keeps on changing time to time. So yeah, you like when I started, I was inspired by Salil. I was pretty inspired by Salil. This is the way I have to go about it. Then over time, I realized, okay, he is doing something that I don't want to do. I want to do something different. Now my inspiration has to change. So then I started. I had a chance to meet quite a few politicians as a law school student because we used to have frequent interactions with these political people coming into our campus for different events and all of that. So they guided me through. Then later on, there's a lawyer. He's also a great mentor to me in the field of law, Mr. Rodney D. Ryder. He told me his journey. So one fine day, I was just interning with him as a student, and I asked him, "Sir, I don't know if I will be a lawyer ever. I mean, I'm interning in your office, and everything is I'm doing all of that, but I don't think I will be a lawyer ever because I have these plans in life. And am I wasting my knowledge? Am I wasting my resources? Should I have just done a graduation and not a 5-year LLB? Am I wasting myself? Am I wasting my efforts?" And he explained to me that you are not. He explained to me on that how all of this is connected. I mean, talking about public policies, talking about citizens, roles of citizens. So you need to understand what the law is all about. And that clarity came in life because of him. कि अच्छा हो कि मैंने law पढ़ा है इसलिए. Because for a long time I used to question myself because initial reason to do law was that it's a 5-year course and I get 5 years to do my startup because graduation होती job करनी पड़ेगी. So from there to getting a vision of why law, that came in because of Mr. Rodney sir. So yeah, there have been people at different point of time helping me in different ways. So yeah, so these have been the inspiration. I haven't really been inspired by a film star or a celebrity. I have been inspired by the people around me doing work that they do and why they do it.
Because we can relate to them much more as compared to celebrities.
Right.
That's really important. If I ask you about your take on success, what do you think success is to you?
Success is living a content life. I mean, I know people who probably don't earn a lot, but they're content with themselves and they're content with what they do. I mean,
Right.
Three Idiots, there was a scene towards the end, right, when our Madhavan goes to his father and says कि पापा शायद मैं पैसे ज़्यादा ना कमाऊं but मैं खुश रहूंगा, is the success. I mean, okay, it's understandable that money can buy you a lot of things, but money cannot buy you happiness. I
Right.
know people who are pretty rich, but they aren't happy with themselves. I know people who barely have any money, but at the end of the day, they live a happy life. So success is about living a content life, being happy with who you are, acceptance of who you are, accepting your own flaws and accepting your own good things about you. And then success is also about not expecting a lot from society. Matlab, why are you expecting everything from everyone?
Right.
If you can be content with yourself, if you can be content with your own thoughts and ideas, that's when things will get right for you. Because once you are content, anyone doing anything will help you and give
Correct.
you a fair idea of what life is all about. So yeah, that's what success is. When you
Correct.
understand that you need to be with yourself and you need to be happy with your own self, that's what the success is all about.
Hmm.
Right, sir?
So moving on to the last one. So any message, advice you would like to share with our viewers and listeners, especially the young ones?
Okay, take up challenges, create challenges for yourself. For the young ones, do mistakes as many as possible and accept your mistakes. Right? We need to do mistakes to accept them, and that's when we will grow as a person. I mean, I used to tell this to my professors back in college. I studied BBA LLB, so when they were teaching BBA, I used to tell them, "Ma'am, I probably know what all you are teaching because I am already running a startup and I'm already executing all of this. So आपके पढ़ाने से पहले ये मैं कर चुका हूँ practically और मैं गलतियां कर चुका हूँ तो मैं सीख चुका हूँ. So I may not know the perfect definition, I may not know the perfect term, I may not know the perfect author of who coined what, but I know what they're trying to say.
Right.
And that was all just because I did mistakes at work, I did mistakes in business, and I understood कि how I have to put them right. And that's when I
Correct.
realized that textbook knowledge से ज़्यादा important है कि आप experience करके knowledge करो, आप गलतियां करके knowledge करो.
Because when you implement things and when you like read them in theory, and practical and theory is entirely different.
Right. I mean, even if it's not different, it's relatable when you have already done it practically.
Correct.
Like I could relate to most of my BBA lectures because I thought I have already done this in some way or the other. I could relate it in my own head in different situations at work. That "Achha, I did this, and this is called this. This is the definition of." Well, like I realized that just because I have the practical experience, I had the upper edge. Third is face your
Right.
fears. I always was scared to be a debater. Today I train people on how to debate. So yeah, face your fears. You never know what your real talent is and what you may end up doing.
Right, wonderful. So that was really amazing hearing you for all these wonderful things and amazing insights you have shared about different things altogether. And I must say, it was kind of really enjoyable conversation with you. You have taught about like your journey, your experiences, and you have also talked about the rights and roles, responsibility of a young citizen, how they should act as a young citizen, active citizen. That was wonderful hearing you, and I'm also looking forward to hear more from you again soon, maybe on different topic. You were talking about so many things, and we could cover only one. So probably on to different topic. Much like next time we will pick up. And thank you so much for your time, Aditya. It was amazing having you here today.
Thank you so much, sir, for inviting me. Thank you for making me a part of your wonderful platform. And I really hope we come again together and we have a great conversation. It was really fun talk. Thank you so much, sir.
Sure. And also, I will share your social media link along with the interview so that people can be in touch with you, take your help, guidance wherever they feel like. And guys, don't forget to check that out too. And thank you so very much, everyone, for watching and listening. I hope you all must have gathered a lot of information and enjoyed watching it. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Have a good time. Thank you, and bye bye.